Good afternoon. Is February 22nd, 2022, and we are looking at a range day with prices staying in the overnight highs and lows. This is a pretty big range, though, almost 100 points. So, well, really, it was 100 points, 253 to 358. But I think really this is the price level that prevailed in the end, which is at 4261. You can see it bounced here a third time right here. So I do think that is the more important price level. Not a whole lot here today. What the good moves that I saw were, or good setups, I should say, were mostly in this downtrend here. So anyway, we'll take a look. None of these measured moves really did anything for me today. I didn't see anything with them. So here's what this is my interpretation of the overnight. Was this channel up. Really, we had like a shorter term channel right here, and then it just spiked up. And I do believe this was the highs, so we got a break, which led to an overshoot. And I think when we came in, when we came in at 5 o'clock, we were kind of making this couple of legs up to test this high. But no setups in there. And if you're feeling aggressive, you at about, okay, this was a little bit before 5 o'clock. Okay, yeah, I wasn't in here. So you get this failed second entry. You might consider that. But it felt pretty clear to me that prices were trying to get to this lower level of this channel right here. So I don't think I would try and be too eager. I'd also probably, by the looks of this, I'd probably wait for a second entry long, and you just don't get a setup there. If you were aggressive right here, I'm pretty sure you would have scalped out. But yeah, 39.50, yeah, you would have scalped out. And then we get this sort of channel down right here, but you wouldn't be able to see that until afterward, I don't think. Because it'd be tough because you probably would be drawing your highs from right here. But I think the channel was more so like this. And so you do get a first entry, second entry right here. And if you had this line drawn, I'd probably mark this as red. This is a good entry, but for me personally, someone who's less skilled and less experienced, finding this was hard for me. But yeah, that looks really good. That's a good setup in hindsight for sure. You can see I marked this level of support just because we had this double, or this really single test right here. But that didn't turn out to be too important. And here it doesn't bounce off it. It goes a little bit back and forth on it though. Then we get this kind of a overshoot of this channel, and then you get a first entry. Really, this looks like a first entry, failed second entry. So now that I'm looking at this, I mean, I don't think you might have that trend line drawn. Yeah, so if you are seeing all that, because I'm only seeing that right now, but that definitely looks like a reversal pattern. And like with the signal bar that good, and this is my trend channel, you might really consider that. That looks pretty good, but definitely aggressive. But yeah, not a whole lot of great setups early on. We make a new high up here, and really that high doesn't look like it has much relevance. Maybe these two highs over here, but you see we get a first entry, failed second entry long. You might take that, but just the bias has been up, so I was a little hesitant about that one. But that is this looks like a breakout and a failed second entry long, so you might consider that. And if you don't pull the trigger there, this looks like a first failed second entry long, just like this was a failed looks like a failed second entry short. Here we get a much better setup with that signal bar, but this looks like it looks like a failure to me. Some people might even argue to go short here, like a new low or a new high. This looks like a spike in channel. Kind of looks like the Big Dipper in the night sky. First entry, failed second entry. You might consider that. You really might. I'm not going to mark it, but you really might consider that. To me, it looks like we got to overshoot. I don't know. Let's see. If you draw it down, see. Yeah, there, I just don't see any reason to take that trade. And here we just start chopping around. So me personally, I don't know how I feel taking trades in here. This one is a second entry, so you might consider that. It looks like it's off the trend channel. I would probably take that, actually. I'm going to mark that blue. I did mark it blue, and I agree with that. It's a second entry long. I think it's actually kind of advanced for a blue trade because we're still not quite sure that we're going higher, but I think it looks good after the fact. So this, I must have looked at this. Yeah, I looked at this as a hidden second entry short. So yeah, just not a lot of great setups, easy to read setups, but we've had these spike and channels a lot today, and I see this kind of looks like a repeat pattern of this spike channel down, and this is a hidden second entry. And just look at that setup: first entry, second entry. So at the EMA, it looks like a spike and channel down. Very great signal bar. So it's aggressive, but I like that. We keep turning down there. Come down here, you got a first entry, second entry. I'm just not crazy about this one. You're going into the lows, going into the opening price there. This has been an important price level. Looks like we already had a close outside. We haven't made it to the bottom of this channel in a few swings. Okay, and now we're just chopping around. But that was a strong leg down for sure. And so it makes sense that we made another big leg down. So as soon as we form this level of support right here, and as soon as we broke lower, that's when you start to get the feeling, okay, this thing's going to the lows or whatever. It's going to test the lows. It's going to make another leg down. So you see we form this support. We're chopping around. I don't like any of this. And then we make this lower high. We break out with trend, come back in, make this lower high. All those longs get trapped in. Seeing that now, if you see that, you very well may consider this one right here. Okay. Looks like a second entry short. Kind of looks like a failed second entry long right there. This is a new high. So first failed second entry long right there. I like that personally. If you got trapped going long here, well, we just made a new low beneath this. So I was looking at that as a possible failed breakout, but we're trying to go to the other to the opening, or not the opening, the overnight lows. So you just have to read it well. You see we have this pinkish channel in here, but I don't see any setups. I mean, you might look at this as a first. This is the failure right here, so you can't look at this as a failure. Here we get a first entry, second entry, doesn't set up. Then you get this lower high that does set up. And if you have this trend channel drawn, that is fantastic confirmation. And look at that, all that. Big trap, plenty of room to these lows, big trap, boom. And then you get this hidden second entry short, but it's also a failed second entry long. Great setup. Here it's starting to look a bit congested, but this is near the trend channel. So it kind of looks like you're at the top of congestion and you can't go higher. There's room to the lows. Not sure why I marked that red. I think in hindsight I would probably mark that as, well, it looks like this is a double top, first entry, failed second entry long. So, I mean, I do like it. I do like it. This, you might look at this as a failure, but that's too far from the EMA for me. You get a second entry short right here, but that looks congestive and far from the EMA for me. Yeah, and you'd probably have the lows of your channel being right there at that point. And then you get this beautiful especially if you saw this bounce at that important price level, you get this really nice setup for a reversal. And I think people who are skilled at reading this thing, I think that's a great setup that you should take. But me, I probably would be scared in hindsight, or not in hindsight, in real time, just because the bias has been so far down. But if you saw in real time that you're bouncing at that price level, then you're good. And you probably feel really confident taking that. So we formed this correction, this channel of correction here, and nothing too convincing in here to me. This kind of looks like a second entry long, so this is probably a trap right here. So I wouldn't go. We haven't made a new low yet. This leg up is pretty convincing. So that's a tough one, but I mean, it closes very far away from the EMA. I marked an entry that was closing far from the EMA earlier. I'm not sure where it is, but oh, this one right here, the reversal. But this is all part of one leg. I don't know. It just feels like a super strong move. That's a nice sell-off. You got to keep that in mind, maybe. So that's definitely trapped some longs right there, though. You get this. You can see we spike to the top of that channel, break right through. So that's a spike and channel up. And this is too far from the EMA to me, and I don't see anything in here. You might take this failure right here. Or no, that's a first entry, second entry, high or low right there. We had a break. We're expecting a move to a new high, so that's what we got. That's definitely aggressive, though. And we formed some level of resistance right here. And you get a first entry, second entry, and that confirms that channel. You could even argue this channel was confirmed right here. It's just aggressive. You're going into this level of support. So this one, I don't know if I would take because you scalped out right here. But if you did take that, it worked out. And that's what I saw for today. So I took a few trades. Yeah, like I went long here. That's not good. Oh, yeah, and I went long here a couple times. I just was not thinking. I just kept going long. And so I took 2 winners and then 1 loser, I think. That was 3 entries, yeah. So that was a mental mistake big time. If you scalp out and you just walk away from your computer. Don't keep entering. Okay, I went short. Did I go short? Oh, all right. I went short here. Okay, looks like I entered late on this entry. Yeah, I think if you entered on time, I like this entry. But I entered late. I went short here. That's a first entry. See this, I probably looked at it like a first failed second entry, but that's so far away from this high. Yeah, it's just not a good idea. Got trapped there. So that's what I saw for today. Those are the trades I took. Hope everyone had a blessed day, and I'll be back tomorrow.